everyone, welcome to another live stream on Faraday Academy. To start off, I'm going to introduce the app again. Hi, Chuck. Yeah, I had a good time working at that company, and I did stream to Twitch a couple times several years ago, but YouTube has, well, I think it's easier for a coder to build a following on YouTube at least. Twitch seems to have more of other kind of material, at least from what I've been searching for. Of text socials and streams. Yeah, and I'm always open to feedback. I've been trying to improve. Actually, today is the first day that I've figured out how to schedule a stream. So I scheduled it an hour before I actually had it. Whereas before I was just launching it trying to get it as close to the minute as I could. Yeah, so here's my project. The curriculum app and my GitHub repo. I show this at the beginning of every live stream. And I haven't changed anything in the README. I think you can see the table of contents if you want to look at it for yourself. But I did add a project here. So if I go into the project board, it's a little bit different because in live streaming, I'm only working on this 1 hour every couple days. So I just felt like it needed to be a lot more organized. So now I have the tasks that I'm going to be working on in progress and backlog. And if I need more information, I've been turning these into issues as well. So anyone can feel free to post their own issues in this repo. And yeah, so I think close that. So no, I don't have the servers running yet. So let me go ahead and start the back end. And start Vue, which takes a little longer. Oops, I'm not in the curriculum front end. And I'll run the Vue server. So that will come up as localhost 8080 once it's ready. And the task I'm going to be working on today is form validation. I started it last time. I started with vValidate, and then I ended up just using the built-in validate in Vuetify and seeing how that works. It was vValidate 3, so it was a bit different than what I used before. So I think Vuetify, just the built-in validation, will work for right now until I need something else. So I'm going to go to create. Here's the form. And specifically, I think last time, yeah, we set this as required, and this one is required too. And then goals not required, resource name. So I really only want these errors to show up if they're trying to save the resource and either the link is invalid or there's no name, but they don't have to have a link, but if it's there, it has to be a valid link. So that's really what I want to validate right now. So here's the front and back end in the same repo. I'm going to go to the front end, and then here, create curriculum. And then if I have time at the end of the stream, I really want to split this component up and clean it up, create a couple components out of this. So let me move my little screen here. Sometimes I forget to move it and it's blocking everything. That's weird. Okay. So here, let's start from the top. So I have my create curriculum and save button here, which is this. And actually, I want to put this inside the form, I think, so I can do a submit. Otherwise, I can reference it with like a this.refs.validate or something and validate on my own when the form is submitted. But anyways, so I have that up here. And then I have my whole form inside here with the top name, goal, description. And then here is the sections loop. So this is the part I want to be working on inside sections. And then I have the resource card. So when I add a resource, I can just say something like test and then add the resource. And it adds like this in a list and then remove the resource. So I already have that this must be a valid URL, but I don't actually want this. I guess I don't want this validating as or coming up as an error unless there is something here. So if there's greater than or equal to 1 character. So maybe I can start there. Let me see where my validation function is. Oh, right. So basically how Vuetify works for validation is that you make these arrays of rules, which are just as many functions as you want to put in an array. And then I have my value. This isn't real clear from the syntax, but this is the value of the form input, and then I can check it. So here I'm checking it against this long regex string, which is basically making sure that it's a valid URL. And then basically if this statement turns out to be false, then it will return this string, must be a valid URL. But I think I can just add another or statement here. And say that the value, let's see. The value dot length must be greater than 0. So let's try that. Okay, it's restarting. Nope, it's still going. Maybe this needs to be an and, right? I think so. Yeah, because both of these have to evaluate to true, or this will be true. I think my logic is right. Let me restart that. And nope. Is it because it's required? No, I don't require it. So this returns false. Oh, right. This is totally wrong because this is returning false and this is returning true. So I do need an or here. So I guess I could put this in parentheses maybe. The first two statements together. Let's see if that works. Nope, it still doesn't work. There must be something here. Yeah, text field is what I'm using. Okay. Custom validation. So here's a rule. And here's an array of rules. So, oh, that's interesting. So I guess this is referring, it must be referring to the V model here. And this field is required. Oh, I must have to put these at different, in different rules. But I want this to be the same rule because I don't want this to test, or maybe I need this first. Either way, this evaluates to if the length is greater than 0, it evaluates to true. And then, let me think. For some reason I'm having trouble thinking out loud. So I want this to evaluate, this expression should evaluate to true if there's an error, but it should only be true if it's greater than 0. So I want this expression to test. No, I want it to evaluate to false if there's an error. So this will evaluate to true if it is a URL. And this will evaluate to true if it's greater than 0, which should make it evaluate to false. So I need to change that. So I should say if it's less than 1, I guess. Let's see. Let me refresh it. All right. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll come back to that in a second. So I have name rules. Oh, I put greater than 1. I put less than 1. Let me try that. Oh, sweet. That seems to work. Yes, that worked. Okay, so it's just me mistyping it. All right, so I have this validating correctly, and then I need to check if there's a resource name when I hit save resource. So I need to put some kind of unique ref on these, even though they're inside of a loop. I think that's the best way to do it. I don't think they loop in the example. No. No loop. Okay. Well, let me see. So if I have, here's a resource name field. And I do have IDs because, so Mongo puts IDs on all of these, all nested objects. So wait. Okay, so I just needed to come to this page first. And I'll have to fix that too. So here is my Vue X, and I have all these objects. So these are the parent objects with an ID, and then also in sections. Oh, this one doesn't have any sections. Maybe this one has sections. This one has sections. And these are also given IDs by Mongo. And those. So I need to be able no, wait, I can't because these aren't saved yet. Okay. I was thinking I could reference them. Okay, I think I can reference them the same way that I'm doing, well, I'm not doing it here, but maybe in submit. Yeah, just using object syntax. So maybe I can just reference the ones that I want. Let's see, here's my add item function. So I'm already adding it. That's right, so I already have it validating if it's a name. I'd like to check if there are any errors. So if I could use a ref instead of referencing item.name. So I wonder if I can, because I was thinking that the Mongo ID would give me a unique ref, but since I don't have that, I wonder, here's where I'm adding the item. Hi Shabam, welcome to the stream. So that's right. So I do have it on data here. So I have no, actually. So I do need to give this a unique ref, I think, if I want to use the validation properties. Otherwise, I could just separately check here if the URL is valid, which would be easier, but in the long run, something I don't want to leave in the code probably. So I wonder, but there's nothing really unique about anything here, so I might have to do that for right now. Because I don't have IDs, I'm kind of iterating and then I have names, but I can't guarantee that any name is unique and I'm not checking anywhere. So yeah, I might have to just check here and see if the, well, at least I can move this out somewhere into its own variable. So let me put that up here. actually take that out. And I'll put here URL regex dot test. Okay. And that should be the same thing. Yeah, I copied it properly. Alright, and here I can reuse this down here then. So if and okay, and so if that tests to be true, but before I do the regex, I'd like to do the or. So if not item dot URL, so if there's no URL, this evaluates to true. But if there is a URL, it's false, so it will go with this, and then if it's not valid, then this will be false, and this whole thing will end up being false. Of course, then I have to add another else if to see if the URL isn't valid, but I'll leave that for now. Okay, so let me try to save it. Yeah, I think, did we meet at Fusion? I can't remember. Because I consulted for a client so much that I wasn't actually in the building very often. I'm guessing it was the same way for you, or at least for most employees there. Okay, so that works. No, it still saves. Why does it save? So this item, I guess I can try to put a breakpoint there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I went to lunch with that crew once or twice, but I didn't really know them. Okay. Oh, I need to have DevTools open. What am I thinking about? Let me refresh. Yeah, that's kind of the goal for most consultants anyways, to get in-house projects. Let me move this. Okay. So item.name is test. Come on. Oh, my syntax is just wrong because I copy pasted, that's why. Yeah, I don't know if I want to say that, but there's a lot of that at companies. Okay, so this V, what was I thinking? Okay. So I need to test item.url here, and I think that should work. So let me try this again. Test, and let's make an invalid URL there. And I'll just play. And it adds. Why does it add? Okay, now let me stop it. So test. Oh, item.url is undefined. That's why. All right. Because, oh, it's named link. Is it named link in the back end? Maybe I got my names mixed up. Yeah, it's URL. So I need to change this on the front end. So let me change this to URL. And let me see where else it is. Yeah, here. URL. 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 All right, where else do I have link? New resource.url. And let me, okay, so only one more. Here it is. New project. Okay, so no more links. So let me make sure my function's right then. All right. Hi, Abdullah. How are you? Okay, yeah, so it is item.url everywhere now. So let's try that again. So I'll put test and just a test URL here, which is not valid. Sweet. Okay, the message here is not correct and it should be an error message anyway. But that's good. And then if I make this a valid URL, then it works. Awesome. So that worked. And let me change this message. So this is only running the logic if the URL doesn't exist or it's valid, and if the item has a name, because that's required. So here I need to know if the item has a name. So I guess I could test and see what kind of error it has before this if statement, maybe. And then here I could pass it, or I could just do a nested if statement, which I don't really like to do. So let me think. If I have must provide name, but either the URL or So I think I have to check this outside of the if statement. So let's see. So I'll do const URL URL check, and I'll test the URL here, which is the same logic I used before. And then okay, and item.name. So I just want, these will basically be Boolean values. So I'll do name check equals item.name. Okay, so if name check and URL check. And then here, I don't really need an else statement because I'm just going to put, I'm just going to put logic that only affects the snack bar, whether it shows. So well, first I need to see if I should show the snack bar. So I could put, let me see, const show snack bar. But I guess this would be an else. So I should have an else statement because no matter what, I need to show the snack bar here. And then I just need to check on what type of error it is. So okay, I'll put URL message here equals, so if URL check, if it's false, then I want to have a message that says URL must be valid. And if this is false, if there's no name, no, well, I might as well use name check because I already have it. So if name check yeah, this is a Mac that I have right now. My only other computers are Linux, and unfortunately a lot of the software I use doesn't run on them. Especially this screencasting software is Mac only, and some of the other desktop software I have. So name check. Okay, so must provide a name. Okay. And oh, right. And so else, just an empty string. And then here, I guess I'll put it inside of here. So I'll put URL check, close that, and then put another variable in here, which will be, no, I should put name check first. So I'll put that here, and I'll put name check here. And then we already know the snack bar needs to be true, because if it makes it to this else statement, there has to be some error, like one of these things has to be an error. Okay, so let's try that. I did try OBS and I had so many problems with it. I was trying to get the microphone working, different stream settings. I probably tried a dozen different times to get it working, and it, you know, it just isn't worth the time, because I'm using Ecamm Live right now and it's like $12 a month and it just works. There's no frustration, headache, hours of trying to set things up. It's completely worth it for me because I'm not an expert at streaming tools. True, false. What am I doing? Oh, I meant to put message here. Okay, okay. There we go. All right, so let's try that. Must provide a name. That's correct. So now let's provide a name. And now it adds correctly. So now let's provide a name in an invalid URL. URL must be valid. So let's make everything invalid. Must provide a name, URL must be valid. Sweet. So I can actually make this multi-line to the snack bar. Eventually I'm going to move this out to be global, because like these settings I'm always going to use throughout my application, and the colors, whatever colors besides black, you know, like I guess info, error, and those kind of colors. So I think I set it here. Let me see. Multi-line equals true. If that's not the right syntax, then we'll see. Let me actually look at the snack bar. Oh, is it only on mobile? Oh, okay, well, it's not that important then. But I should find the varieties. So, yeah, so here, and I'm guessing this is just a Boolean value, so I just need to add a hyphen in multi-line. Okay. And that did make it bigger, I think. So I guess it will bleed over into the next line. Oh, so on desktop it keeps expanding, and then on mobile, maybe this would go to the next line. I don't know. So you can set the color here. Oh, that's for the button. There has to be some variety. Let me see the options here. It can be the name of a material color, for example, success or purple. Okay, that's good. So I can use success. Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, I'm going to write an article about streaming. I think it's really helping me become a lot better. And also in interviews, when I do live coding, sometimes I would freeze and just have my mind go blank. And I think live streaming is really going to help me and just work through problems more efficiently. Yeah, so I think it's a good idea for coders to do. I almost wish when I published my book I added something about live streaming. I think when I do version 2 next year I'm going to. Or it might be the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Okay, I got sidetracked. Alright, so here I'm going to do color equals, for right now I'll do success, but I should be able to pass in different colors there. What do you mean I rubber duck things? Oh, that's cool. Okay. And then I'm guessing I do the same thing with error. Awesome. Yeah, so every time this is saved successfully, I don't need a green snack bar. That would be annoying. So, okay, so now I need the same logic for projects. Oh, is it already in projects? So I guess, yeah, because projects uses the same function. Okay, URL must be valid. This adds, so sweet. So it already works. Let's add example.com. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, live streaming is great for that. I've run into some weird bugs. Thanks, Chuck. I'll see you later. We should catch up sometime. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Okay, so now that this is all working, now I need to be able to save, which I hope that didn't go through. No. So I need to be able to check and validate the whole form if I'm saving. Which will basically only validate, I think it will only validate the name in section exists and that the name here exists when I save. So if I go back to custom validation, let's see. Okay, right. So here in script, they have where is it? Here it is. This.refs.validate. Oh, so let me see. Cancel. Oh, refresh the form. So submit. Okay. And that's what I want to happen on submit. I want all of these to basically come up as errors. So I need this. I'm going to have to do this.refs, and I'm going to reference the form. So here's the, when I hit the save button, it comes up with this. Oh, okay, the form must be, the ref of the form is F. That's what it is. Okay. So let me see. Here's my V form, and I'm going to add a ref here, which is, let's see, what should I call it? I guess add or pet info form. Pet info form. Okay. Wait, so here is, I'm gonna have to put that in quotes. Okay. Validate. So here, so if I pass true, basically, I think what it's saying is that it will automatically validate the form. I don't know if I need true there because I'm going to put this in an if statement. So if, because I don't want to run any of this saving logic if the form isn't valid. So let me do this. Oh, and this needs to be in parentheses. So if it's valid, run this statement is basically what I want to do here. So let's see if that works. Oh, sweet. That's awesome. So it does indeed validate the form when I hit save. So, and just, that's exactly what I wanted, is this name to validate and this name to validate. And let me see here if well, I guess if I have an invalid one, then this is another one. Yeah, so validation works exactly as I wanted. That's great. And yeah, so let me try to save another curriculum and see if it works. Test curriculum. Oh, right, the events. So I'll just call this 1 for right now. And let's say the resource is jQuery tutorial. Example.com. I'll add that resource, and now here I'll have build a portfolio page, example.com. All right, I won't add another section. So let me save that. And so, yeah, so I'm adding this in my console as a success. I think in my, this is in the way. So I think in my Vue.js, where's my Vue.js? Source, public, store, yeah. I don't know why this is coming up here. So store action, so post curriculum, this is when I save the curriculum. And oh, right, so I'm still console.logging this, so I need to change that. Yeah, because this, so when I save, what I want to happen is to navigate to another page. I want to navigate to probably, so now that I saved that curriculum, it's in here, test curriculum. So I think I want to navigate to this page for the saved curriculum. So I'm going to have to, after this await, I'm going to have to route to the new page from Vue.js, I think. And I might, so commit, so I might have to dispatch an action from this action to get all curricula. Or I could, if I can confirm that I have the rest of the curricula, I could just append. Let me see what I have in mutations. So I could just append the curricula from here once I get the response back. So the response, oh, so I'm not, that's right, I'm just returning success and the status code. So I would have to get the curricula back. I think when I post curriculum, I should return the ID of the new one. Unless I want to route the user to this page with all the curricula, which would be easier because then I could just use this route here. But I think the best case would be to route them to here. Oh, sweet, and this works now. Oh, right, I hard-coded the / in, but I separated the checkbox from this. Just here, though, in resources. Okay. So I think I am going to dispatch this action from here and then route to the new page. But yeah, first I will go to my API and see what I'm returning. So when I post, I'm just sending this. So await curriculum.save. I wonder what I get back from this when I save a curriculum in Dynamo. What do I get back? Let me find out. So no, I can't call it. I can't call it response because I already have a response. So let me call it curriculum response equals await. And I can return that. So I returned data. Yeah, which is the whole curriculum. Okay, that way I don't have to dispatch an action from within an action here. I can simply get the curriculum that was just saved back with the Mongo ID here, which is what I want. So then I will have to update. So I will have to append a single curriculum. So let me append a curriculum to the array of whatever curriculum. The thing is, right now in my app, I think if I go straight from home to this create form, I won't have any other curricula in my array, which will be fine, I guess, because if they're going straight to only viewing a single curriculum, it shouldn't matter. So let me add that here, append curriculum and state curriculum. And then so my mutation is going to take this curricula array dot push this curriculum, and then I need to basically from here I want to route to, let's see, No. I want to, oh, that was dumb. So I got rid of the console.log. That's what I was expecting here. So I probably just saved that multiple times. So I basically want to route to, let me find the data in here. Append curriculum. So payload. So I want to route to curricula / this _ID in this object. So I'm going to have to import my router. I think I could pass it in through this function, or I can just import it in here. And I'm going to try to import it. So import router from my router file. And then router dot push curricula / and then variable. So it would be res.data _ID. Okay. So I think this might be correct to be able to import it. I'll see if it works. Okay, so need something here and need something there. Awesome. It worked. That's great. So this was the last one that I added, right? Yeah, it was. Okay, good. Oh, I clicked this 3 times last time. That's why there's 3 of them. So I should clean some of these up in the database. I do have, where is it? I can post, get. I do have it where I can delete. There's nothing on the front end for that, but I could use my REST client and send delete requests. All right, so, oh, it's been an hour already. So let me see in my dev tasks. Yeah, I'd say I finished that one with the form validation. And then I do want to do this front end cleanup and then move the snack bar into its own component so I can have app-wide settings in it. So let me look at this cleanup task. Oh, basically I was saying header. I don't think I'm going to do that right now because the form is validating. I thought I might need that for form validation, but I don't. Yeah, the form element should definitely be moved into its own file. And then the sections, I can also break out the sections. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me close the back end. And here, okay. Mutations. So here in the form, this file is what, over 300 lines long. Definitely longer than I want it and has way more stuff in it than I want. So I'd like to move this form out into its own component. And in components, I want to have a folder. Maybe I'll just call it create form. And then I can break down the form further in that folder. So here I can make a file called, let's say, main form, I guess, and this will have the main part of the form. I'll start this with the template. Maybe. There we go. And then I can bring in the form here. And I think I'm going to keep most of the logic in here. Once I move the snack bar out, it will remove some of this. Yeah. So here I'm going to put the whole form. All right. There we go. And I only have a few more minutes, so let me see if I can get this working first so I can push working code today. So, right, so all of these, I need a script tag, and I'll do props. And then I'm going to pass in all of the functions and things that I need, like add section for right now. So let me import main form from, no, that means source. So components / create form / main form dot view, and then let me register it here. I think it's called components, and then I'll just do main form. Okay, so I think that should work. And then wherever I had the form before, which was here, I'm going to do main form, and then I need to pass it the functions and data that I need. So first of all, I guess I have to pass the rules too, so I'll pass it name rules and URL rules here in main form. This is gonna have quite a few things, I think. So I'll pass it name rules, URL rules, and then I need add item. And I also need to pass it, where's my loop? I need to pass it sections. I need to pass it add item, delete item, and add section. Okay. So let me pass sections first. So sections equals sections. Add item equals add item. Delete item equals delete item. And then I'll keep sections with sections, so I'll put add section. I guess I didn't create a way to delete sections, so maybe next time. Add section. I don't think I do anyway. Oh, this is all broken, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. So now I need to take these and put them as props here. Okay. Name rules is not defined. So here I think I can either do an object or I can just set them here as a string maybe? No, this is an array. I'm pretty sure this is how I do this. So this is also an array. This is sections is an array. Add section is a function. Oops. Function, and then it's the same for these two. Yeah, what was I thinking? There's no variable here with these names. All right. So that's better than it was. Section.new resource. All right, so there's definitely something with the form. So let's see. Oh, I didn't pass in these ones, these top three, so I do need to, man, there's a lot of things to pass in. Actually, these should be in an object themselves, so I can just pass the object. So maybe I'll call it what should I call it? Pet info or something? Pet info. And then take these three, put them inside here. And then, okay. So now, well, I need to do the same thing in, no, I don't, not there. So, pet info. So where I save, let me see. Name, goal, description. So here I'll just do pet info. And then pet info, I can just do this with pet info, and I'm going to get out name, goal, and description, so it's going to be the same thing. Okay, and that seems like it's going to work. Yeah, because there's nowhere else, none of these other methods use those. So now I can just pass in pet info equals pet info. And now here at the top where I'm doing name, goal, and description, I'll do pet info.name. Yeah, I can summarize real quick. I just want to get this working. So pet info, here we go. All right, so pet info is undefined. Oh, right, I didn't define it. I also have to define it in props. So pet info, I'm not going to do the shape or anything. I think I can just say it's an object. All right. So now it's saying that oops. Basically section.new resource is undefined. So where is that? So here's new resource. I'm passing in sections, so I don't need to pass in section because section is just sections being looped over. For section in sections. So I can look at the props here. Let's go to components. So in this component, I can look in sections and it looks fine. So let me look in main form. And then sections is just a string. Okay. So let me see why it's being passed in as a string. Oh, all right. So I was missing this. It's really annoying that I have to hit escape every time. Okay. So now they should work. All right. And now my form looks good again. Sweet. And there's definitely more pieces I can break out. I just shortened this by over 150 lines, and then this one's almost 200 lines. So I can break out sections and stuff from here and then put more files in this create form component. But I'll do that next time. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with where this one turned out. So let me push this code and then I'll explain the project real quick. So let me add curriculum front, source, components, the create form folder. And then the rest of the files are modified, so I'll do git commit just am. Let's see. Yeah, those are good. So I'll just call this code from LIVESTREAM number 13 and push that. All right, so here is the project. So the basic goal of this project is to be able to have learners create their own curriculum, share it, keep track of their progress, people to be able to kind of fork other people's curriculums and then update them on their own. Yeah, and then eventually it'll build into a lot more features than that, hopefully. So is there anything particular you want me to go over, or I'm just gonna keep talking for a minute? So you can see I already have these basic pages implemented. There are some things that aren't working yet, like the checkboxes are supposed to say that you've completed a resource or project, which will update in the schema. So it will switch this is completed from false to true in the database, but those aren't hooked up yet. I also want this to be completely editable, and let me see if this will work even though my server's not running. Yeah, so see how this pencil is here? If I click this, I want to be able to edit this text, and here too. So if I click this, I want to be able to edit this text. I want everything to be editable here, and that's not working yet. And then a progress bar. And aside from some cleanup tasks and some back end, just I guess those are cleanup and to-do items. Those are really the main features that I want to add for right now before it becomes usable. I also added a color scheme, and I'm coming up with some, I guess, standards for the layout and stuff like that. But I am using Vuetify, which uses materials, so it gives me a lot of those things. Or it's doing a lot of them under the hood, so I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, and those are, I have my API and schema laid out, and then I have my routes for the front end all laid out. So I think those are pretty straightforward. I haven't updated this in a while, so you can ignore these. Maybe I'll update them. And then the other thing I've been doing, or I just started doing for this live stream, is in projects. I have a board. I didn't want to separate front and back end because there's so few tasks right now, but I'm just keeping track of the progress as I go along. And eventually I'll have some kind of third-party auth, and people can actually start logging in and keeping track of their own progress. To start with, before that, I might just have it stored in local storage, and people can keep track of it there. I think that's how, when you look at CSS Sushi and SQL Bolt and those kind of things, it keeps track of your progress. Oh, plate? Yeah, so it keeps track of your progress through these challenges in local storage. So when I come back to this page, as long as I haven't cleared my storage, you know, I can be in the same place. So yeah, I'll start with that, and then I'll get to authentication and sign in and stuff like that. So, and then of course there's the multi-user features. So how and when should you be able to view other people's curriculum? See, I made tabs here so you could actually view everybody's curricula that they've created and then go into it and fork it for your own, kind of like a GitHub repo. You can see all the GitHub repos, and then you can fork one and make changes for yourself if you want. And then you can look at your own. And then I don't know if there should, this is kind of a far off idea, but I think that eventually maybe we'll have actual instructors or somebody with verifiable industry knowledge. Maybe they can approve your curriculum, you know, add some kind of validation to it. But yeah, that's a bigger idea for the future. So that's basically where I'm at right now. I mean, this is totally open to anybody else, you know, updating, contributing, adding issues to, whatever you want to do. So thank you, Rizzy. I haven't decided which nights I'm going to live stream this week, because we're starting this free coding school project. So my hours are going to shift a little bit. I might actually just move it back an hour. So instead of streaming at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I might just start streaming at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But I'll post the schedule for my future streams. I'll post it later today. So yeah, it's been an hour and 20 minutes. Thanks for staying with me here. And if you have any questions or comments or anything, just leave it below the video. Have a good night.